Hi guys, it's Jennifer. I am a mentor on newbie junk journal makers, and I had a question about closures. I guess from my I'm a mentor, so from my sister Lois. Hi Lois. So I just wanted to do a video because I'm not really good at writing out the explanations, and I think a video will explain it a little better. On closures. So I'll start with the journal I have here that's made from myself, and then I'll show you some others that I have from other incredible junk journal makers, because I don't have a lot of copies of mine, so because usually when I make them they're gone. So the first one is a wraparound or tie, and you can do this several ways. The way that I did this one is, this is a chipboard cover, and I wrapped it in muslin fabric, and then you can, I did the cover first, the cover and the back cover, so that I knew where I wanted to lay my silk. And so these are fabric that's put on the front and back, but I left the spine without fabric. As you can see, it's separate pieces, because I like to sew in the signatures and then cover it so that the stitches don't show. And there's nothing wrong with the stitches showing, just for this particular journal I didn't want them to. So after the front and back covers were done, I took the silk and I measured where I wanted it to be, and then you can mark with pencil or freehand it and then glue it down. If you're using fabric, I suggest Fabri-Tac glue, but tacky glue works fine as well. And then I tied it closed so that it would dry where it's supposed to be, and I wanted it right in between the two here and two here. As soon as it's dried, then you can put the and I hope okay, let me rewind. I'm sorry. I suggest sewing in your signatures first before you lay the tie closure down, if I didn't say that already. And that's so you do your cover, sew in the signatures, put the front and back covers on, and I always do the covers after I sew, because then you're not getting getting your cover dirty. If you have, my desk is a disaster. This is muslin covered on top of my desk. So then you glue it, you let it dry, and I suggest tying it so that it stays in place, and then you put either your paper or fabric over the top. The other way you can do the tie closure, which I do this as well. For this particular journal, it didn't really work very well, and I was in a rush and decided to do it this way. You can make your journal, and before you put your top layer on, you can cut two pieces. This is one solid piece, but you can cut two pieces and glue like the end here and the other end on the other side in the same spot. Then put your paper over it, whatever your cover paper will be, and then it just pokes out. Or you can do that also on the inside. Right on the inside before you put your inside cover in, so that it just pokes out, which I usually do the inside, unless I forget, and then I'll do the outside, which I've done many a times. I forgot, oh no, I forgot to put my closure on, and I've already put the inside of the book together. So those are a couple of ways to do tie just with glue. Basic, easy. And you can use, this is sari silk, you can use torn fabric, you can use seam binding is very common, lace usually works. So that's that one. Now the next few journals I'll show you are not mine creations. I will tell you whose they are as I go, just because like I said, my journals, this one's going in the mail in the morning. So the next one that's very common is the eyelet closure. This journal is made by the fabulous BETH WALLEN. She is on YouTube as BETH WALLEN, or if you're on a few sites as Lucy's Mum, M-U-M, or on Instagram as well. And she is phenomenal. So this is 2 eyelets, and then you add the seam binding, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to show you on a card because I'm not currently making a book. You want to have, a really good tool to have, oops, if you're going to do this, because I actually don't know how to even do an eyelet without this tool, is a Crop-A-Dial. I have the huge one and I have this small portable one. So what this tool is it has, and this is my first tutorial, so I apologize if I'm not clear. It'll punch the holes for you on either end depending on what size your eyelet is. So So you would, it's locked, so you have to squeeze it to unlock it. And I'll just show you on this card. So you say you want your hole here. Okay, so it punches the hole, but it will also close your eyelet. So I'll just close an eyelet in there just so I can show you. So you would take the hole and you would, you know, put your eyelet, oops, if I can get it to stick, sticking to my fingers. And then you use this tool, and it has directions based on what eyelet and you're using, and then it crimps the back. So you would do that on the front and back covers, okay? And then you're going to take a big loop. I wish I had some different, oh, here's my seam binding. Let me get some seam binding because it might be better than using this string. Okay. Never ending, sorry. This is my very first tutorial, so I apologize. Okay, so once you have your eyelet punched through, you're going to take your seam binding or whatever you have, and you want to fold it in half and make so that there's a loop there at the top. And then you're going to want to put that loop, and excuse me, but I have long nails, so I have to find tricks. Put the loop through the eyelet like this so that the loop comes through the side that is solid, not the crimped side. Okay, so that would be what's right here, if you can see that. Then you take the two pieces together and you're going to run them through the loop. Okay, and then you're going to pull so that it's wrapped around. Okay, and the reason you want the eyelet there is so that if you pull too hard, this will tear. With the book, it might not tear with the book, but it'll wear on it and it just looks nicer. But there's and I'll show you a trick you can do if you don't have eyelets. So you'll have that on the front and back, okay, and then it just ties right in the center. Okay, so that's that, pretty easy. And the great thing about these is you can loosen them or tighten the closure. If you get too much stuff in there, you can make it loose. Okay, so the next one is similar, but instead of an eyelet in the front, you're going to use what's called a hitch post fastener. And this journal is made by Denise, and she is Practice Makes Pretty on YouTube, and she is Tattered Dream on Etsy, and she is another amazing journal maker, as you can see. So this, as you can see, has the eyelet in the back, and then in the front you poke the hole the same way you would with the crocodile, but you're going to put in a hitch post, which is a Tim Holtz, or I think they have a Paper Studios or something like that at Hobby Lobby. And this can either wrap around or you can loop it, and this sits on my mantle, so it's actually, my loop is very wide because it props up, but you can make a smaller loop and it will catch it. And since this sits on my mantle very wide, the loop is very wide. But you can make a tighter loop for yours, and then again you can loosen or tighten as need be. Similar to that is a button closure, and this is made by JAZZY, Rachel's Creation, which she left. She's another amazing junk journaler. I actually don't think her videos are on YouTube anymore. I hope someday she comes back, because she was actually the reason I got into journaling. Her and Beth, I found their videos when I was quilting. So anyway, sorry. But these are layered buttons. So you want to get either a bigger and a smaller, or you can go the other way, depending on what button you want to show on top. And then she used a button in the back. I don't usually do that. I usually do the eyelet way, but this way is also because she was sewing, and if you'll believe it, this was made out of a tiny paper bag, this whole cover, which is cool. But you just wind it. So the reason you want two buttons, and so you have some room to wind, and seam binding works with this also, and then you wind it and it's closed. So you can, this is stitched in, and I think what she did is she stitched it and then covered it with this paper here. So you can stitch the button in, and then, so basically you leave your thread long, you sew it like you would sew a button on, leave your thread long, and then you can tie it at the end, and then you sew this, but you want to use two, and then you can wrap it around. But you can also do the eyelet in the back, and, you know, just like the hitch fastener, with the buttons as well. So that's another way. And then some people just wrap seam binding around the journal, or this is also another Rachel creation. You can take an elastic and run it through buttons, or sew it and put a flower on it and just wrap it around your journal, which is a really quick, easy way. And I've done that for gifts because I forgot to put the closure in, and I covered the front and back. Oops. And I've done that many times. Or you can take even just seam binding. Let me unwind this and I'll show you. And tie it around if you want. Because sometimes the journals are not super fat and they don't really need a closure, but they still look nice when you're sending them to somebody. And you can just tie it. And I've seen this many a times. Just a simple tie. There is another way that I've seen Denise do journals, and I've never seen anyone else do it. So, and I think she might have something on her videos. She slits 2 spots in the back, and these are on soft covers, and runs the seam binding through so that it's secure, and so that it looks similar to just tying it on, but it's secure, and then ties it in the front. But I have only seen her do that. I've never seen anyone else do that. It's a really good idea. But I think she just takes 2 little slits with like a craft knife on her back to slit it through. So hopefully that helped. And I will link the other journal makers that I mentioned in the description so that you can look at their videos as well. And I will talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.